Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. Income tax raids at one of India's biggest newspaper groups, the Hindi newspaper Dainik Bhaskar's offices across 5 states. There are raids. The homes of the owners in Bhopal are also raided. The paper says the government is scared of our independent journalism. We are only accountable to our viewers. The INB minister says agencies are doing their job. We don't interfere. A Trinamool Congress MP snatches papers from the IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav in Parliament, tears the statement. Chaos in Rajya Sabha as the minister cuts short his statement. Action now likely to be taken against the MP Shantanu Sen. Farmers' mini parliament in the heart of Delhi, just 2 kilometers from Parliament. They say we want all MPs to listen to our demands. Meanwhile, Minister Meenakshi Lekhi calls farmers Mawalis or ruffians. The Congress protests in support of farmers today at Parliament. Devastating Maharashtra floods in the Konkan region amid heavy rain. July rain has broken a 40-year-old record. Trains are cancelled and the Mumbai-Goa highway is shut as the Chief Minister announces a high alert in the state. Is it finally curtains for Karnataka Chief Minister Yediyurappa? He says today he's ready to step down. Will know by Sunday. He's waiting for BJP High Command orders, he says. This as more Lingayat seers arrive at the Chief Minister's office to express support. The 78-year-old Chief Minister completes 2 years of his term on Monday. A tragic story, just 17 and killed by her uncles for wearing jeans. A UP teenager is brutally murdered and her body found hanging from a bridge just because of her lifestyle and wearing jeans, says a grieving mother. The United States crosses 50,000 cases amid the Delta variant surge, but 97% of Americans who are currently in hospital are all unvaccinated, according to US health authorities. In the UK, data shows that despite a cases surge, deaths and hospitalizations are low because of vaccinations. Our lead story tonight. This morning, income tax raids across 5 states against one of India's biggest newspaper groups, the Dainik Bhaskar. The group has said that they are being targeted for their journalism and they stand strong and they will remain independent. The INB minister said the raids have to do with the agencies. It has nothing to do with the government. But of course, there has been outrage as the opposition has said Dainik Bhaskar is being targeted because of the reporting it did during the pandemic and the fact that it's covered the Pegasus spyware controversy.
गंगा में लाशों से लेकर कोरोना से मौतों के सही आंकड़े देश के सामने रखने वाले भास्कर ग्रुप पर सरकार की दबिश देखिए। भास्कर समूह के कई दफ्तरों पर गुरुवार तड़के इनकम टैक्स विभाग ने छापा मारा है। विभाग की टीमें दिल्ली, मध्य प्रदेश, महाराष्ट्र, गुजरात और राजस्थान स्थित दफ्तरों पर पहुंची है और
Officials of the Income Tax Department at the residence of the promoters of the Dainik Bhaskar Group, which publishes one of India's largest selling Hindi dailies.
The raids that started on 7 a.m. covered over 30 locations in 5 different states, including Delhi, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Rajasthan and Maharashtra, and also on the homes of the promoters of Dainik Bhaskar Group in Bhopal.
हमारी पत्रकारिता से क्यों डर रही है सरकार? मैं स्वतंत्र हूं क्योंकि मैं भास्कर हूं। भास्कर में चलेगी पाठकों की मर्जी।
In its tweets, Dainik Bhaskar said their reporting will be undeterred, a reference to the Bhaskar Group's hard-hitting reports on the devastation of the second COVID wave, notable for their coverage of dead bodies washing up on the shores of the Ganga. The New York Times a month ago had published Dainik Bhaskar editor Om God's piece on COVID deaths in India titled "The Ganges is Returning the Dead. It Does Not Lie."
आप जानते होंगे कि न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स तथ्यों के साथ क्या करता है और भास्कर में भी यह परंपरा है कि अगर कोई रिपोर्टर खबर लाता है तो उस रिपोर्टर की खबर को क्रॉस चेक करने का एक प्रॉपर सिस्टम है। उस सिस्टम के बगैर खबर आगे चल ही नहीं सकती, खबर पेज पे आ ही नहीं सकती।
Bhaskar was one of the few Hindi papers to front page reports on the recent Pegasus snooping scandal.
अभी नहीं करेंगे, नहीं चल तो रहा है ऑलरेडी।
In Lucknow, income tax raids at the office of news channel Bharat Samachar and the residence of its editor-in-chief Brajesh Mishra. Bharat Samachar's recent reporting has been critical of the UP government. A few policemen are present at the spot, and there is a 6 to 7 member team of the income tax department that is inside. Sources say what they are doing is that they are examining taxation papers that they feel or they know are kept here. They say that there is, quote unquote, according to them, conclusive evidence that there has been some kind of fraud. The editor-in-chief, Brijesh Mishra, has also given a statement to say that we are being targeted because we have been critical of the incumbent government's handling of the COVID crisis, etc. The raids drew sharp criticism from opposition parties. The Information and Broadcasting Minister, however, said the law is taking its own course.
लेकिन मैं इतना ही कहूँगा, एजेंसीज अपना काम करती हैं, उस पे हमारा कोई दखलंदाजी नहीं होती.
Sources in the Income Tax Department have told NDTV that the day-long searches at the premises of Dainik Bhaskar Group have led to the unearthing of evidence allegedly showing tax evasion worth hundreds of crores and also round-tipping of funds and related party transactions. Sources also say with the names of the promoters figuring in the Panama Papers, the agency is also contemplating to initiate proceedings under Black Money Act. With Alok Pandey, Anurag Tiwari and camera person Ashok Mahale, this is Arvind Gunasekar for NDTV.
So is a chilling message being sent out to media houses as well on their journalism? That's a larger question raised by these raids. But also the other big headline tonight, as the IT minister stood up in the Rajya Sabha today to make a statement on the Pegasus spyware controversy, there was chaos in the Rajya Sabha. A Trinamool MP, Shantanu Sen, actually grabbed the minister's statement and tore it. The strong action is now being considered against the MP who claims that he was being threatened later by Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. Meanwhile, a controversy over an alleged amnesty statement which said that the leaked numbers are not from Israel's NSA group. However, Amnesty said it stands by its data and says that the list of 50,000 numbers they've released internationally, among them include potential surveillance targets of Pegasus spyware.
Sir, with your permission, I may be allowed to lay the statement of the Minister.
The papers of the Information Technology Minister snatched tone, forcing him to cut short his statement on the Pegasus scandal. The culprit, TMC's Shantanu Sen. Minister Vaishnav's statement was identical to the one he made on Monday, even though his name has been reported as a target in the phone hack allegations. Parliament was stalled. The BJP went on the offensive and claimed Amnesty International, which was part of the Pegasus investigation, had distanced itself from the list of over 50,000 phone numbers.
The way mythical characters like Darth Vader or Voldemort are created in Harry Potter, similar conduct is being indulged in by the opposition in the parliament. Amnesty International has denied about this list. And yet, opposition has continued to disrupt the House on a fake list.
The Union Minister's statement came despite Amnesty's denial. The human rights group rejected reports which questioned the Pegasus data.
Israeli media had alleged Amnesty's list of over 50,000 phone numbers were not related to the NSO. Amnesty called recent reports false allegations and inaccurate media stories and stands by the finding of the Pegasus project. Data is irrefutably linked to the potential targets of NSO's Pegasus spyware. False rumors pushed on social media are intended to distract from widespread unlawful targeting of journalists, activists and others. However, some unanswered questions remain. Where did the list of 50,000 potential targets come from? The source of the list of the 50,000 potential targets of Pegasus is still unclear.
Either way, the Pegasus scandal isn't about to die down.
They are giving misleading statement on this Pegasus issue. We are not going to accept it. That is what happened.
But the TMC MP who targeted the minister could face action. With more names expected in the hacking case, India's opposition is asking one simple question. Did the government use Pegasus software against prominent individuals? With camera person Ashok Mahale, Sunil Prabhu, NDTV.
The other big story tonight was of the farmers' mini parliament at Jantar Mantar, just 2 kilometers from the parliament session. Today also Congress MPs including Rahul Gandhi protested at the Gandhi statue in Parliament House asking for the repeal of the farm laws. Meanwhile, farmers have said that they will rotate 200 farmers a day as long as the parliament session is on at Jantar Mantar. However, controversy now over Minister Meenakshi Lekhi saying the farmers protesting are Mawalis or ruffians.
From Singhu on Delhi's border with Haryana, 200 farmers left this morning for Jantar Mantar in central Delhi to hold a Kisan Sansad in tandem with Parliament being held just 2 kilometers away.
Farmers have issued a whip to the parliamentarians. Normally parties do it, but this time the voters have done it. We are going there to discuss an issue which has been discussed in the Parliament of UK, New Zealand, Canada, but not in India.
At Jantar Mantar, heavy security deployment as the farmers began to arrive in buses. Prominent farmer leader Rakesh Tikait flagged off the event.
यहाँ पे बैठेंगे, अपनी बात रखेंगे और किसान संसद भी चला सकता है, ये भारत सरकार ने मान लिया। कंडीशनल बात करते हैं, कंडीशनल बात ना करें।
But the government repeated its earlier stand.
बिल के किस प्रावधान पर उनको आपत्ति है, अगर वो आपत्ति बताएंगे तो आज भी सरकार खुले मन से उनके साथ चर्चा करने को तैयार है।
In a press briefing, new Minister of State Meenakshi Lekhi dismissed the Kisan Sansad.
किसान के पास समय नहीं है जंतर मंतर आके बैठने का, वो अपने खेत में काम कर रहा है। ये आड़तियों के द्वारा चढ़ाए गए लोग हैं, फिर किसान आप उन लोगों को बोल रहे हैं, मवाली है वो।
The Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha were adjourned during the day several times on different issues, including the farm laws. Farmers have been protesting on this issue for nearly 8 months now. They say they will continue to protest in every form they can, come rain, come sunshine.
किसान की बात को मीडिया के सामने रखने से भी आप रोकने का काम करेंगे? ये मीडिया लॉज है। नहीं मीडिया हमने इधर का इंटरव्यू हमें मीडिया ने बुलाया है। आप दे रहे हैं हायर अथॉरिटी को आप बताओ कौन सी हायर अथॉरिटी?
On the other side of Parliament, COP cited higher authorities to stop these MPs speaking about the farmers. With Chonakshi Chakrabarti in New Delhi, Anusya Mathur for NDTV.
Well, moving to the other big political news, it's clear now that the Karnataka Chief Minister seems on his way out, even though it's very reluctantly. Today, he made it clear that he's waiting for the BJP High Command's order to decide what to do next. He said he will know by Sunday. Today, more Lingayat seers, that's the caste that Chief Minister Yediyurappa belongs to, arrived at his office to express support for him to stay on. But as you can see, it's clear that his days are numbered as he crosses 2 years in his term on Monday.
ಇನ್ನೂ ಯಾವುದೇ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. 25 ಏನಾದರೂ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಸೊ ಕೇಂದ್ರದ ನಾಯಕತ್ವ ಏನು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬದ್ಧನಾಗಿರ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹಿಂದೆನೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಈಗಲೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈಗ 2 ತಿಂಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆನೇ ನಾನು ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ, ಬೇರೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅವಕಾಶ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಿಮಗೂ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಗಮನಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿರುವಂಥ ವಿಷಯ.
So already lobbying will begin on who will be the 78-year-old Yediyurappa's successor. Meanwhile, there will be some sort of patch-up between Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh and his rival in the new Punjab Congress Chief Navjot Singh Sidhu. He takes over as PCC Chief tomorrow, and it has been confirmed at the Chief Minister's office that he will actually attend that ceremony tomorrow. In fact, he's invited all MPs and MLAs and ministers to tea at his home tomorrow morning. Well, moving to the other big headline, and this is the devastating floods in the Ratnagiri region of Maharashtra. This because there's been a huge surplus of monsoon rain in June and July for Maharashtra and the Konkan region. The Mumbai-Goa highway has actually been closed and hundreds of trains have been cancelled.
Chiplun city of Ratnagiri drowned by incessant rain. Roads turned into rivers and buses were completely submerged in the water. The Vashishti River engulfed the entire city. About 5,000 people trapped there had to be taken to safety with the help of disaster relief teams and Coast Guard teams.
जे लोक अडकले त्यांच्या फूड पॅकेटची व्यवस्था केली आहे आणि लोक सुरक्षित, पहिली प्रायोरिटी लोकांना सुरक्षित बाहेर काढणं यासाठी आहे. हेलिकॉप्टर्सची जर गरज लागली लोकांना तिकडनं सुरक्षित स्थळी नेण्यासाठी, तर त्याची देखील व्यवस्था तयार करून ठेवण्यास सांगितलेली आहे.
प्रशासन है, लोकप्रतिनिधि है, जनता है, सब मिलके जितने भी लोग फंसे हुए हैं उनको बाहर निकालने की प्राथमिकता, जनता का जिसके जो अटके हुए लोग हैं उनकी जान का बचाने की प्राथमिकता है.
Two other rivers, the Jagburi River in Ratnagiri and Savitri River in Mahad in Raigad district, are flowing above the danger mark. Personnel of both Disaster Relief and Coast Guard are helping out now. In Ratnagiri and Raigad, the Mumbai-Goa highway was closed. Heavy rain also washed away the railway line, as a result of which rail traffic on Central Railway from Titwala to Igatpuri and from Ambernath to Lonavla remained suspended for hours.
बोरघाट और कसारा घाट में जगह जगह पर बोल्डर गिरने के केसेस हुए थे, लैंडस्लाइड हुई थी, ट्रैक वॉशआउट के जगह जगह केसेस हुए थे.
The heavy rain has also led to lakes which supply water to Mumbai rising as much as 70% in just one day. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has warned of more rain and held a meeting with officials to organize relief. With Sunil Singh in Mumbai, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
We'll keep bringing you latest reports from those flood-hit areas. But meanwhile, looking at the COVID data, well, in the last 24 hours, we have just over 41,383 cases. That's marginally lower than yesterday. Also, marginal rise in active cases. Deaths are down by 1.5%. Deaths are down by 507. Now, this huge dip is also because the earlier backlog of deaths is not been there today. The recovery rate is still high, and the daily positivity rate is still below 2.5%. But let's just look at the global numbers. And as we can see, the cases rising of the Delta variant. Brazil is back at the top of global numbers at over 54,000. The United States, however, has now crossed 51,000, though the main number of people in hospitals are not vaccinated. Sonal has that report.
All right. Well, how exactly are vaccines going to end the pandemic? Are vaccines effective? This is the question that has dominated our mind for quite a while now. But now data emerging that actually puts this question to rest. What is that? Well, to start with, data emerging from UK and US is saying this. For starters, let's look at what US is looking at these figures as. US at the moment averaging about 41,310 daily cases. That's up about 171%. But if you look at hospitalization, significantly lower at just 49%. And the silver lining in it all is the number of deaths reported. That's just about 42% only. So who are these people who actually did land up in the hospitals? Well, latest data analyzed by several organizations now point out that US, the breakthrough infections in fully vaccinated people accounted for fewer than 1,200 of more than over lakh COVID-19 hospitalizations. That's just about 1.1%, and only about 150 or more on 18,000 COVID-19 deaths in May of fully vaccinated people. That translates to 0.8% of 5 deaths per day on an average. That's US for you. What about UK? When an analysis there, and this graph takes you through that, look at the wide divide in those two waves at this point. It tells you that the number of people who vis-a-vis the numbers got admitted in hospitals and subsequently lost their lives is much, much lower. In conclusion, vaccines do work. So come on, India, go get yourself vaccinated.
So some good news there despite that surge in the Delta variant globally. Sonal, thanks so much for that. But moving now to some horrific news. A 17-year-old girl, a teenager from Uttar Pradesh's Deoria district, was brutally killed by members of her own family. Her crime: her father worked in Punjab, and once she came back from there and was living in her village in UP, she insisted on wearing jeans.
This 17-year-old girl from UP's Devaria murdered with lathis and rods on Monday evening, allegedly by her own grandfather and uncles, just because she was wearing a jeans and a top and refused to change her dress. The girl's body later found dangling from this river bridge 12 hours after her killing. These ghastly scenes, the result of an attempt by the accused to dispose the body, gone wrong.
जाके शाम के नहा के जीन्स टप पहली, बस पहन के जातनी पूजा कर उनका बाबा बोलना कि कपड़ा नहीं पहरे दे, बहनी कली जवन कुछ चलल पहने खातिर हम पहना, बस यही खातिर गाड़ी गुप्ता देना विरोध लैकन इसका लड़का बोल देनी कहना मार के मुँह पर लाठी डंडा जैसे चाहना वैसे मानना।
The girl and her mother had recently come to live at the home of their in-laws in Devariya. Her father is a migrant worker in Punjab. Reports say the accused used to argue with the girl regularly for wearing what they called Western clothes. The police have not announced any arrest so far. With Vinod Dwivedi in Devariya, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Well, the other big business news, food delivery site Zomato will be listing tomorrow, earlier than initially expected. The latest details on that, well, it's a 9,375 crore maiden offer. It was oversubscribed by 38 times and it's listing 4 days earlier than expected as the first billion-dollar Indian startup. This also, the markets ended in the green today as IT and metal stocks outperformed. The Sensex ending higher by over 638 points or 1.22%. The Nifty also up by 1.23%.